Welcome to episode 184 of Cowboy Shit. My name is Ted Stovin. He is Dustin Edwards, and I'm in Regina, Saskatchewan at the Canadian Western Agribition. And Dustin, you are in Calgary at your home office, it looks like.
I am. Yeah, I'm not experiencing Regina
Regina.
like you are.
Experience Regina.
Cue song. Let's roll tape. That had to been that was one of the most interesting marketing campaigns that ever
Oh,
came about.
and I guess I probably shouldn't even said that and done that because when I was here last, the guy at the arena yelled at me across the building, across the brand center, and said, "Under no circumstances will you play that song tonight during the show." We like all thought it was funny. We're like, "Oh yeah, Regina," and then he's just yelled at, like screamed at me. I've never been yelled
Don't
at
don't
for.
don't
Don't
do
do it.
it.
Don't
Don't
do
even look at it. Don't even think about it. But
it.
no, we can play it on Cowboy Shit because
Oh
we
dear.
can.
Anyways, that
Okay,
was
you want
it
to
was
talk about
fun.
song? I want to talk about songs. I want to talk about songs for a second.
Yeah,
Last
do it.
week, my Instagram was overloaded with people at the Zach Bryan concert.
Oh, in Edmonton,
And
yeah.
how about our girl Nolene was on stage playing Purple Gas? And funny enough, someone I work with talked about going to the concert, and they're like, "Oh, this girl played this Purple Gas song with Zach. It was so cool." I'm like, "Dude, I heard that song in Teddy's living room
Yeah. It
on a cold October morning, I think, or
was
whenever
like
the hell it
April.
was, or April, whenever it was, for the first time." So that was cool. I feel like everybody was sharing it on the socials last week, and I'm like, "Oh man, what
That's
a
neat.
what a catapult! Not just a rise, like a catapult into playing at Rogers in front of 19,000 people. That was pretty
Holy
cool."
shit. That's cool. I didn't even know that happened. That's awesome. That's way cool. I was looking at maybe
Yeah,
going
I
up to
seen
that
it. It was
show, but it never happened. But
all over the socials with Nolene and the Purple Gas. So
oh, that's cool. She would have had to really do some traveling to make it up to do that because I think she was like somewhere in the Northeast with like Shane Smith and the Saints recently. So that's super neat. Good for her.
yeah,
I do have to
yeah,
say,
yeah, really
uh,
cool. You could,
probably a popular opinion, but I like her own version better than the one with Zach Bryan.
I agree,
Yeah.
100%.
Nolene's
Yeah,
original, way better.
yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
You heard it here first on the Cowboy Ship podcast.
You heard it here first in Ted's living room, and and we got to hear it with the Tim Hortons in our hand and a breakfast
Yeah.
sandy, and it was all
Yeah.
good.
And I gotta say too, like I might be kind of calling her out a little bit, but like she was so nervous she had to stop and we had to restart because she was like so
I
nervous.
was I was I was just gonna say that. So like Nolene, credit you. You were nervous in Ted's living room, and we had to start and stop and start over. And
Yeah,
then you went up and played in front of 19,000 at Rogers Place.
yeah,
I'd say I'd say you've got a handle on it.
yeah. Isn't that wild? Anyway, super sweet, like such a nice girl. I'm super happy for her to have some major success this year and kick
Yeah,
some serious ass. So love to see it, Nolene. Keep rocking and rolling out there.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
I just wanted
Dustin.
to throw that in because it was
Yeah,
popular.
absolutely. Yeah. Well, and I'm looking forward to the Maple Leaf Finals rodeo out here in Regina. We got 4 days of rodeo starting today. It's a Wednesday, like Wednesday night start. 4 rounds of competition, $120,000 in payout. A lot of big names. Graham Stewart and I in the show talk about kind of do a little bit of preview, go through all the different events. He's part of the rodeo committee out here, so we kind of go through that in the show. But yeah, looking forward to that. There's a lot of great events here at Agribition. Tuesday night bullfights, and yeah, this is gonna be a great week out here. I really enjoyed speaking to a group of 4-H kids on Sunday night. Flew over here Sunday morning and started did that little speaking engagement for anyone that needs a speaker for
PJ,
anything.
personal jet, folks.
Oh,
Just
yeah, that was fun too. Thanks to Bree's dad for lining that part up.
Ted rolled in his
Neat
own
ride.
personal jet to Regina. No big deal.
It wasn't mine.
What was the
I
in-flight
didn't
movie?
book it. In-flight movie was actually writing in my journal, writing up my goals for the next year. No in-flight movie. I just
What what was the first goal? To ride in this jet more often.
okay. You know what's funny story about that though? Like, kind of just I talked to the kids like so. I had this little bit of a couple things that I talked about. I talked about like I talked about behavior. So I thought that was kind of something that might be a good conversation for the kids. They're all between the ages of 16 and 21. So I talked about different behaviors that people could adapt or be willing to try out or commit to. Some of the things that I think help me with my career are, for one, with visualization. I still do that today, like every morning with during meditation, like visualizing where I want to be and what I want to do and what my life looks like in 10 years. And I've been doing that for a long time and hopefully getting closer to where I want to be. But one of the stories I told was that hadn't been on a bull in like 6 weeks and I dislocated my shoulder and I visualized the perfect ride every morning and night before first thing when I woke up and last thing before I went to sleep, I was visualizing what the perfect bull ride would look like. And then the first one I came back and rode was in Jasper, and I was like 91 and a half points. And just hadn't been on a bull in a long time. So I talked about the visualization side of things. And then I talked about writing goals and dreams and just kind of having that bucket list. And I said that, like, I don't know how long ago it was. I could go back and look at my list, but I said I wanted to fly on a private jet. And this year I've already flown on two. Last year I flew on one as well for a different circumstance. But like, I was like, write down your dreams, and I talked about a couple different financial things too, and just like writing some crazy goals down, just like some really outlandish, wild stuff, because you never know what'll happen. But like, I never thought I'd ride on a plane. Like I like do fly a lot, but just kind of some of the places we end up getting to and some of the stuff. But like, yeah, why not dream a little bit and write it down because you never know what'll happen. So yeah, never know.
And that
Don't
is
be afraid to think
Ted's
big.
TED Talk, literally.
I also talk about I got to give a shout out to Sean Morton about the topic of failing forward, and I know you and I have talked about this before too. But I talked about failing forward and how I just like literally have learned the audio business by doing it and having epic fails many times where the complete sound system has died. Shit's gone really sideways, and I've learned how to get through a lot of stuff and trial by doing a lot of it and learning by fucking it up plenty of times.
Was that you and or me and Sean in Tofield where the power just went out?
That was you and me. Somebody kicked a
Yeah,
breaker up. One of the camera guys fell on a breaker.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's such a big thing. I love the term failing forward. I use that so often. I find that's like I don't know. That's kind of the way I kind of live my life.
Yeah, do it.
Lots of fails, but keep rolling.
Right? Uh, but a lot of the stuff we ended up doing was a bit of some active learning where I got the kids to stand up and find a partner and share their goals with somebody else, and then share with the group, and kind of got them up and interacting, moving around. It was after dinner, so I kind of wanted them to not just sit there for 25 minutes. So we did some similar stuff at
Oh, that's
the
cool.
yeah, did some similar stuff spring training programs with the sports medicine team. So I wrote down another goal that I want to speak 5 or 6 times next year. So I'm not sure where I'll might be next year, but I hope to do more of that. I enjoy it. So hope I get to facilitate a bit more in
So
2025
if you're out there and your children need motivation
for
and they
activities
need advice and activities, Ted's for hire.
or
He
maybe
will
just volunteering. Don't know yet.
or he'll volunteer.
Yeah,
If you
just
have
trying to help the youths of tomorrow.
if you give him a
But
sandwich, he'll come and do it.
they did feed me, so I was happy. Uh, the I gotta say though too, Dustin, like what was it? Oh, what am I trying to get out now? I'm drawing a blank. I don't know what I was trying to get at now. Shit. Sorry. I don't know what I was
You
trying to
were
say.
something felt like it was about to emerge,
Yeah, I had a thought and I lost it. It just totally evaporated.
and the hamster fell off the wheel.
hmm But I enjoy doing the speaking
We
thing,
can
so I hope I
circle
get to do
back.
more of it. If I think of it, I'll get back to it later.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyways,
sounds good.
yeah, Maple Leafs Finals Rodeo, Wednesday to Saturday here in Regina. NFR starts next week while the show's on. I have an illegal gambling ring that I'm part of. If you want to do some betting on the rodeo, we have a daily pool that's off the record. But if you call me or email me, I'll let you in on the game. I don't run it, but it's quite fun. Seems you're gonna say something,
And
but
it
I don't know what
doesn't
you're gonna say.
involve chickens or a back alley, so
Yeah,
it's not
there's
that
no,
bad.
it's not cockfights. It's just betting on the rodeo, but it's fun. It's a pretty good game.
All right.
So,
So
yes.
Ted will be a motivational speaker to your children, and then he will conduct
Hey,
illegal gambling when it's all said.
or possible adults. I mean, whoever wants to play ball.
All right.
But
All right.
yeah. Anyways, yeah, Maple Leaf Finals here. And like you said, NFR starts soon and just finished Lethbridge last week. And you're gonna be in Dawson Creek on the December 7th as well with the Alpha Bull.
Yeah, we're heading up to Dawson Creek, so an annual trip up there. I'll be flying up with our friend of the show, Brett Gardner,
Oh, nice.
and Sean Morton will be up there. So yeah, good crew up there. We just wrapped up last week the BRC finals
Yeah.
with Sean Morton um, and Jonathan Cole, Dom Sanamon, and the mic. So that was a fun little weekend. So yeah, just still getting a little bit of taste of some rodeo and bull riding action here in the winter months, which is always nice.
Hey, and we got to say too, you met social media manager of Cowboy Shit, Claire Sunshins as well. She was part of the BRC crew.
She was, yeah. She came up and looked after all the social media, and she was great. So it was a little cowboy shit crew up there,
Love it.
and did an awesome job. And they rode a shit ton of bulls too, which
Yeah.
was really cool. It was all 8 guys in the short round on Saturday got in on two, and they ended up having 4 guys riding 3 for 3, and
Right on.
they just kept one upping each other, and they went from 3 to 1, just rode their way to the win. So it was pretty cool. They rode,
Awesome.
I think it was 31 out of 45 outs they rode.
Holy
So it
shit.
was pretty cool.
It's a
Yeah.
ton of rides.
Yeah.
Well,
It
and
was really
congrats
good.
to Tyler Craig on the win in Lloydminster too. And yeah, hope Dawson Creek goes great for you guys. Hope the roads are okay. We got the snow. The winter is among us here in the Northland.
She's among us. She's fucking here, boys.
Yeah,
That's a shit ton of snow that fell down this weekend.
winter's here. I had to shovel like six
Winter's here.
times.
The one part about living in a condo is I just boogied out on Saturday and didn't have to shovel any snow anymore.
It's kind of nice.
Um,
You haven't shown any
as
snow
I
at
was
all. You
embarking
haven't
on
shown any
my
snow at all.
no, no. I was playing Uncle this weekend, and I went to the rec room and the Flying Squirrel trampoline park. So I'm a little sore today.
How many injuries did you have?
I got bruising on my ribs. My knees are completely gone from the water slide.
Uh-oh.
Um,
Which water slide? You didn't talk about water slides. Is there
we
water
were
slides
water
at Flying
sliding at the
Squirrel?
hotel as well.
The
Um,
Sheraton Cavalier?
we were at something over by the airport, Holiday Inn, maybe, that had a water slide.
Oh, okay.
So I was showing the kids how to, break
Cowabunga.
land speed records and Superman off the slide. And then of course at the Flying Squirrel, I played dodgeball against 14 6-year-olds and did the climbing wall and the rope and the whole thing. So
When did
it
you
was
dress up
it
as
was
a
all
spaceman?
uh, that was on Saturday night. My nephew told me that he was having a space themed party. So they had little cupcakes with astronauts and some space themed tattoos. It was pretty chill, but I figured I should get a astronaut suit. As you can see here, it's right beside me. So I surprised the kids by dressing like a NASA astronaut, and uh, much to no one of the adults' surprise that I came out in an astronaut suit, my nephews were quite thrilled about it.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah,
What's
it's
the
cool.
Wasn't there a thing where Bubbles from the Trailer Park Boys dressed up as an
I
astronaut?
think so. Yeah, yeah, that's ringing a bell. So yeah,
That wasn't the green when he was the green bastard. That was something else, wasn't it?
that was another one. Yeah, yeah. I'll have to pull some clips and figure out when that
Oh
was. But
shit.
yeah,
We
yeah,
got a
it's
lot of
all good.
got a few shows we're gonna record this week too, so it should be a lot of fun the next few weeks. And got one for sure lined up that should be pretty fun in Vegas. Dustin, I don't know if you're gonna get down there or not. Probably not, but yeah, it's a fun couple weeks
Looking
coming
good.
up. Fun couple weeks coming up, and thanks to Graham for having me over. It was a lot of fun to catch up here, and hope you all enjoy the show. Once again, this is Cowboy Ship. My name's Ted Stovin. He's Dustin Edwards. Thank you for joining us this week. Make sure to always save us. Watch the episodes, listen along, and check out the merch, cowboyshit.ca. All right. See you later. All right. Welcome to episode 184. Here with the best part of the show, the interview portion of the week. And I'm here in my buddy's kitchen. He's I got a full page intro here. Full page of stuff. So he's a partner at Canadian Strategy Group, former Deputy Chief of Staff to Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe. He also served as the Chief of Staff to Ministers of the Economy Energy and Resources, and Crown Investments Corporation under the leadership of Premier Moe and former Premier Brad Wall. He was also a member of the Saskatchewan Party War Rooms for the successful 2011, 2016, and 2020 election campaigns. But that's not all. He was a three-time Canadian Cowboys Association finalist in the Team Up event and the 2002 Canadian High School Rodeo champion with rodeo announcer Robert Schmidt from just down the road in Yellowgrass. But growing up in Weyburn, Saskatchewan, now at his house just outside of Regina, Saskatchewan. Please welcome to the show, Graham Stewart.
Talking about this.
You got to turn your mic on.
Gotta turn the mic on. We've been talking about this for a long time, so glad we actually got it done. You had to come to my house in the snowstorm, but
yeah,
we're here, and yeah, it looks like you got a lot off the internet of my bio.
Yes, you probably wrote that yourself, actually.
Well, probably. There's some edits to it.
That's how that goes.
Yeah,
I stumbled a little bit.
Happy to be on the Cowboy Shit podcast.
Thanks for doing this, and thanks for doing this week. One thing I didn't mention in the intro is that you're actually part of the Agribition Rodeo Committee now, which is part of the Maple Leaf Finals, Maple Leaf Circuit Finals. It's been here for what, like 4 years now.
Yeah,
but you're part of the Agribition Committee now, which is neat, because that's probably something, like, my estimation is probably not. You probably haven't been on a ton of rodeo committees in your career.
No, I've been usually going to them all and
Gotta hold a little closer.
Respecting what the committees do, but joined this year. Glenn Lips had reached out, asked if I'd join the rodeo committee.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to Regina and to the area that we, celebrate during Agribition what we do for a living, right? You make your living at this. I do some other things, but rodeo is so important to, the West in general. And happy to join them and untie some calves. Hopefully they catch a bunch, but
you're untying the calves.
I guess so. Yeah, they called in Ryan Carragata to help me out. There was a text group this week that said we maybe get somebody a little more senior in. So Ryan Carragata, who's also a CCA finalist and maybe a CCA champion in the calf roping, he's gonna help me in case one gets up. But I don't expect there to be too many getting up. But it should be fast and a lot of fun.
Right on. Right on. Well, so what else would be involved in being a part of the Agribition Rodeo Committee to this point so far? This is your first year. I think you told me you joined up back in the summertime.
Yeah, we've had a couple meetings. It's really just, planning how this will go. I think, the most of the crew that's on that committee have been on it for a number of years. We got a new chair in Glenn. Glenn's been instrumental in Lipstick Cartage in rodeo in Saskatchewan for many years, a sponsor of the pro rodeo side, the PBR side, and the CCA, which is, near and dear to my heart. I spent a lot of time on the CCA board. And Glenn's been there, throughout, a CCA president in the past as well. So, when Glenn asked, I happily joined. There's a great crew there. So we all have got our jobs, and I think mine's untying calves and figuring out what else is needed to do. First time, so we'll see.
I think I haven't really seen the list, but one of the other people that I know that has been, or I think I can easily say has been part of the committee for a long time, is Dale Claypool too.
You bet. Yeah. And the couple meetings that we've had this summer, Dale's been, great at it. Knows what they're looking for. Marla Grad too has been on that committee throughout the different iterations of the CCA or the Agribition Rodeo.
Yeah, and because it was CCA finals for a number of years.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Probably the best the CCA finals ever would have had to be in Regina at Agribition, I'm thinking.
I would think so. I
could be wrong.
But I got to go there twice. Didn't get to go to Saskatoon. I think it was busy there, but in my lifetime, my rodeo career, Agribition was the place to be.
The best. I think in my experience, and I went there in like 2012, 13. Well, I guess I must have been there quite a few years, because it was kind of like 2012 to 2015, I believe, that I was at the Agribition for the CCA finals. But Maple Leaf Circuit Finals became a pro rodeo, became something kind of new that was created in like 2018, 19, 17. I guess CCA finals went to Swift Current in 2016. So that means that Agribition rodeo, it was rodeo for a while, then it became the Maple Leaf finals after a bit.
Right. I think this is the third year of the Maple Leaf.
The third year. Okay. Yeah. So it's all post-COVID then. That makes sense. Anyways, great event now in the pro rodeo schedule. I want to say, no offense to the entire season, but it's a little bit of a, you know, like it's one of the bigger shows, but it's kind of like it's at a weird time in the year, honestly, with it being so close to the NFR and it after the CFR. It's kind of just weird timing in the season, I want to say, but still like still a great event in the schedule.
It is, and it's super important. You saw, Cavis Drake's a great example. Had a great Maple Leaf finals last year.
Yep.
And allowed him to become the the CPRA champion.
Yeah.
I think him and Denham won, 4 or 5,000.
Yeah.
Really catapulted their year. It counts for next year, right? So
Yeah,
really got up
2025
there.
season. Yeah.
We had Bueller had a record-setting year, but able to win a little bit here, set your year up for next year is super
true.
important. So you'll see, a lot of, especially time. I mean, I know the timed event obviously better than the rough stock end, and there's a few guys that are getting ready for the NFR that maybe aren't here.
Yeah.
But those timed event guys, Strand Dunham's another one. Great kid, set himself up to, he won a bunch here. He was the champion at the Maple Leaf Circuit Finals last year. Set him up for, the year in the CPRA last year. Got to the CFR, did good at the CFR, but now he's in Calgary, right? Top 5. Super important for those guys. He gets to go to Calgary, and this started it off, I think.
Well, and I haven't been for a couple of years, so I haven't paid as much attention, I guess, honestly. But now that I'm thinking about it, there's no other rodeos that pay this much throughout the season until you get to the summertime. Like this is one of the biggest checks of the year, but it's in November, so you can set up your year and win $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 this week, and then you're not gonna win a check this big again until Ponoka weekend.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why you get kind of the best of the best.
That's true.
To come out here. The rodeo is going to be great. I think you can get the tickets online for the rodeo right now. There's still some available. I think Friday and Saturday getting close to selling out.
Yeah. And this show's coming out on Wednesday, the 27th. So first perf is tonight.
Yeah.
On Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's 4 rounds. You're going to see the same contestants the entire week.
Yeah. And they'll be gunslinging. It's that chance to.
It's a new rodeo every day.
You bet.
Yeah. Great format. Like that's one of the things with the marketing side of rodeo that I think it's important for a place like this. If somebody's going to be a casual fan, they could go to Agribition for 1 or 2 days, but they're going to see some of the same names and see some of those same people. And I think on the marketing side of that, it makes a little more sense than having somebody different every single day, where they don't get to really like, oh yeah, this guy might come here for 1 day. It might be better for some of the contestants to go for a 1 day, 1 header, but it's way better for the entire show to have it be 4 days of the same folks.
Yeah, you got the best in the CPRA here. Which is great. I think it's important to note that there's different type of rodeo fans. You and I both know that.
True.
There's ones that are coming because it's Agribition rodeo, and that's what's happening this week. So you get your tickets for Friday night, and you go party in the dirt after.
What does that look like? Or sorry, you go ahead first.
But there's the actual hardcore rodeo fans that you want to come and see, guys that are gonna go to the NFR.
Yeah.
Lucas Moxa, for example.
Yeah, there you go.
A local guy,
getting close,
living not far from where I'm at, where I grew up in Weyburn. Guys that are gonna be at the big show too. I think you're going there too, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna make an appearance there at some point in Lost Wages. Should be a fun time. But there's a ton of top contestants that are gonna be at this event that have been to the big show before in Vegas. Like Leighton Green's been to the national finals before. Cole Ashbacker's been to the NFR as well. And just in the bronc riding event and the bareback riding, you got a ton of great names. Cody Lamb, who just won his first Canadian title, just in Edmonton there a couple of weeks ago. Just
show that
Clint,
was
Clint Lay. Yeah, absolutely. Great to see the CFR back in Edmonton. That was totally huge. You got,
the house that Connor built, but
right, McDavid.
You bet.
Then in the bull riding, you got Canadian champion William Barrows just coming out of Edmonton as well. In the bull riding, Jared Parsonage looks to make his return. He got hurt in Grand Prairie a couple months ago now on the PBR tour. Chance Switzer just won the PBR Canada Rookie of the Year title. Another Saskatchewan man. So of the contestants in the bull riding, you got 3 guys from Saskatchewan. Grady Young, another one, was one of the top rookies this season. Jake Gardner's couple-time Canadian champion. Edgar Durazzo. Tyler Craig just won in Lloydminster on Saturday. Jake Gardner just about made the NFR. Coy Robbins been on the doorstep. Then here we go in the tie down. Sorry, go ahead.
I know, Cowboy shit, and you've been involved in the ladies all around, but some of those names that you listed in the bull riding are all around contenders. There's
That's for sure.
not many guys that heel quite
That's
as good
true.
as Jared Parsonage if he ever wants to crack out.
That's true.
Yeah, that guy heels real good. He got on my horse once. I can't remember where at Rodeo, but made him look way better than I did. Chance too, he ropes really good.
That's true.
Benny's been training him for a lot of years.
And impressive for Jake Gardner in the bulldogging side of things
Yeah,
too.
no doubt.
In the tie-down roping, we got Kyle Lucas has made a run to the NFR. Logan Bird raises some of the best horses around. What else? We got Riley Warren.
Tyler Popesco too. He's coming to Regina. One of the best horses going. I know a couple guys were on him in Edmonton. He makes a good one. And the champion from last year, Strand Dunham, a kid that I watched grow up, tying calves since he was about 5 years old. He had a pick and string around his neck if he didn't have a calf or a calf dummy tied down. I'll be cheering for him this week.
What about in the bulldogging? We got some big names there as well.
I know that the bulldogging's going to take the longest in the rodeo. It's always the slowest, but
how come?
Well, you got to break some horses, I guess. But I think there's some great talent there. You can't count out Curtis Cassidy.
That's true.
Anytime. Also riding one of the best horses going. Been the best horse for a long time. Ty Miller too. About as tough as they come. I saw him in Calgary a couple years ago, quite hurt, but he's tough. I went to a calf roping school a long time ago. I think I was in maybe grade 11, so 2001.
Oh, really? Were you an all-around guy back in the high school days too?
I caught some calves around the neck. I couldn't get off very good. I landed on my face mostly, but Ty Miller is the nicest guy.
That's just landing though. You can get off. You just got to land right.
Yeah. I landed like a ball mostly. There's a picture of me getting off with my slack in Springfield, the high school finals once. My feet stuck and I just rolled and the whole crowd laughed. But I took it in. I got him tied down in about 30 seconds.
There you go.
Plus 10 at the barrier. But but yeah, Ty Miller was, the nicest guy. Came up, made me feel welcome. Always cheering for that guy too.
Well, and then I got to mention Scott Ginther sneaks into the NFR, barely went down south all year, and makes another Wrangler NFR. Stephen Culling also going to be at the Maple Leaf finals. So yeah, some great competition. Tanner Milan, former NFR qualifier as well.
It's you see things like Pinoca making such a difference in those PRCA standings, right?
That's
Scott,
true.
I don't know. There's a minimum you have to go to, but I bet he's made
There was a minimum for the bareback riding when Jake Vold was going to like 25 rodeos and making the NFR, and then finishing second in the world that one year, 2014, I think.
Yeah,
he finished second, and I think he went to 36 rodeos or something. Like barely made the minimum.
It's wild.
Guy that won at one went to 125.
If you're that good, let
That's
him in.
True. If you make a yeah, I agree. Barrel racing.
Oh boy,
I don't know a lot about the barrel racing.
Should probably get Jane over here for
experts.
those, but
yeah, need to get an expert on for that part. But still gonna be great competition the whole week. You got big names. Taylor Manning.
Yeah.
Taylor Manning has been a force to be reckoned with. Carly Cowie, CFR.
Yeah, she's won the average at the CFR before.
Yeah, Brooke Wills, Jaden Wilson, Renee Leclerc, Lisa Groves, Pam Morrison, Blake Molly, Lisa Zahara as well. So
yeah, it's gonna be fast. It's gonna be exciting. Great horses. There was the BFA sale in the States just finished up. I'm sure it's.
I don't know what is that. I don't know what that is. BFA.
It's a futurity, but they have a big sale.
Okay.
I think the high selling stallion was about $135,000 US. These horses just get faster and faster.
Huh. Dang. Well, you can talk about this event for us a little bit. The team roping.
You bet.
What do we need to know before the Maple Leaf finals for the team roping?
Well, it's going to be an interesting crew here. Cavis and Denham, shocked everybody. Not shocked everybody, but gave them the business at the CFR. A little bit of a bad go on one for Denham, or they'd both been champions. I think Cavis and Denham are going to be very tough in this building. They were the champs last year. An interesting Saskatchewan connection. T and Tyson McLeod are teamed up this time around. Brothers from Waldeck, Saskatchewan.
Former CCA finalists in the same building.
Yeah, they would have
been competing there.
You bet. They both been down south trying to get qualified for these winter rodeos with different guys. But I think they're going to be tough. That gray horse, the horse of the year in the CPRA that T rides, he's going to be badass there. It's his kind of setup. Watch for T and Cavis to be coming with it at the line. But you look at the whole list. I mean, the Schmidt boys, Grady and Brady, Spady, they're all, great team ropers. Yeah, it's going to be tough. It's anybody's game.
Well, and just to point out a couple names in the list as well here, former NFR qualifier multiple different times, Colton Schmidt heading for Tyrell Flewelling, multiple time Canadian champion. I think he's got 3 or 4 in the bag at this point. World champion Levi Simpson with 3 event cowboy Riley Wakefield. Riley was entered a ton this year up this way, and like 3 events every single time.
Yeah,
I was impressed
and good at them all.
Yeah, and could compete at all of them. So, what's it like though? Tell me on the horse side of things though, for like Brady Chappell and Cavis Drake, like those guys are just from Moose Jaw. Like they're gonna still probably stay at home and just truck in every night, I would think. Or do they go and leave their horses in at the Agribition all week? Or like what would that be like for those guys when they're only half an hour away?
No, yeah, I think they'll be going back. They can get a little bit of practice in Brady's arena. If they need to, there'll be a few other guys staying with him, I think. So yeah, they'll haul in most days. I think being sharp, they'll get those practice steers in. Brady's indoor is kind of close to what the dimensions, maybe a little bit bigger, but the dimensions that will be in the Brand Center this week. So those guys, Brady Chappell, T. McLeod, Cavis Drake, they grew up roping in those type of setups. Brady's been a CCA champion in that building more than once with cousin Kyle and his dad, Larry. So they know that building. I imagine in the team roping, there's nobody that's won more than Brady Chappell in the Brand Center.
In the Brand Center. All right. You heard it here first, folks. We'll see how the week goes. But in the ladies breakaway roping, got a great set of contestants. Only one we're maybe missing on this side is a Canadian champion for this year. Macy Eclair set some pretty major records on the had a pretty huge CFR. I was impressed with the crowd and how engaged they were with the breakaway roping at the CFR when those girls were making like 1.5, 1.6 second runs. Like I was like, holy smokes, the crowd is 100% into this for that to being in Edmonton at the finals for the first time. Like I was thoroughly impressed. That was outstanding.
There's no question, Ted, that this event should be in every rodeo in North America.
Mm-hmm.
It's fast, it's exciting. These girls bring it. Like 1 to 10, you can't pick who's going to win each round because they all have it. They're all riding really good horses. Yeah, you and Brad Wall started the ad breakaway thing in Canada. I think that's super important. I used to work with Brad. I call him boss, but that's super important. And this is the future. The CCA finals, there was, a knife fight to get into it.
Really?
A knife fight when you got there.
Yeah.
It's probably the most exciting thing. And, my daughter's 8.
There's more future for ladies in rodeo.
Yeah. And
more opportunity.
The horses have to be great, but I think it's important that you don't have to barrel race to be part of the rodeo. And there's lots of great women team ropers.
Absolutely.
But this is for them and they're so good at it. I'm excited for the future of breakaway and
me too.
I'm glad you guys are a part of it.
Well, I'm glad to help. And the girls that have won the buckle so far, Brady and Kylie Whiteside, have passed it back and forth a couple times here now for the ladies all around buckle on that side of things, just for what we're doing to support a little bit. And I'm just glad to help. When Lakota Bird, who's also going to be competing this week in Regina, when she called and asked, she's like, hey, can we get some spurs made? I was like, not a chance. Like, I'm making you guys a legit Canadian champion buckle as cool as I can make it to match the men's one.
Absolutely.
You girls deserve ladies all around. I don't care if it's official or not. We're going to make it official. Like, I'm just going to do it and ask for forgiveness later. I don't care what the rules are. I'm just going to make it happen. And then we'll figure out the details later. But we're year 3 now and it's a little more official. I remember first time I ever presented it this year. So trying to give it a little more awareness and give it a little more, what do you call it? Like a little more formality. Like I'm just trying to help out and make it a thing.
Oh yeah. And I think it's super important. And, the CCA finals always has an all-around champion. For the first time ever, it went to a woman this year.
But so the trouble with the CPRA one is the breakaway is not a major event yet, so they can't technically call it. Like it's a little bit gray still, so we have to go through the hoops and figure out what the logistics are to make it official in the rule book or whatever. But
Yeah,
anyways,
you
we're
got it started.
unofficially putting it on, and
You bet.
we'll get there eventually.
Yeah,
Anyways,
you
but
bet.
yeah,
And yeah, congrats to the McCannell girl that was the all-around champion at the CCA finals.
yeah, that's outstanding. I didn't even know that happened. That's
yeah.
really cool. Well, because even Lakota, like when they first brought the breakaway into like High River, like the Guy Weedick Days Pro Rodeo,
Yep.
the C5 crew, got to give kudos to them for bringing the breakaway in. And Maynard and Shauna and Lakota and Logan, they brought the cattle for it, obviously, and they donate the cattle a lot of places on the breakaway side of things. But Lakota won the all-around title there back one of the first ones. So I just, that was the same year that I think Nellie Miller won like the all-around at Red Bluff too.
Right.
It was kind of one of those first kind of years. So anyways,
it should be at every rodeo.
yeah,
for sure.
just a matter of time, I think.
It's exciting.
Okay. Let's talk. So once again, this week, agribition.com, get your tickets for the rodeo. There's just a ton of fun stuff. So if you're anywhere close by, if you haven't been before, come check it out. Hope to see you there. I'll be doing a few things around the area. So give me a shout if you're coming down. Hope to catch up with you. But Graham, let's talk a few more things. Let's go. I don't know where we should go next, but I mentioned Canadian Strategy Group off the bat. I got to ask what you guys do exactly. Like I know a little bit, but I think the average listener on the show probably doesn't know what you guys do yet. So give us a little background on CSG, how you came to be there, and we'll just talk on that a little bit.
Yeah, you bet. I spent just about 14 years at the Saskatchewan legislature. A privilege to serve both Premier Brad Wall, Premier Scott Moe. In 2021, I decided to move on from working in politics to working, alongside politics. So Canadian Strategy Group does public affairs and government relations. That is a lot of words. We like to call it consultants, but really we're lobbyists, representing nonprofits, companies, really anybody that's trying to get something done with government and doesn't maybe know the right path to do it. We're not a dating service. We don't set you up with a meeting with the premier or the minister, but we develop strategies for you to fulfill your goals. Some of that maybe a mining company that has to get through an environmental assessment, which is super important. I mean, we like,
but it's a regulatory thing. Like for me, like I wouldn't know where to start.
Yeah.
Right. That's part of it. Like even so, I had something come up this year, and then I called you. I was like, Graham, like I don't know. I know there's some government funding involved in this event, and there's some stuff that I don't really agree with, and I called you. I was like, hey, like I don't know how this works. So I called you, and you helped me navigate through it and figure out what the best course of action was to understand government, because I just don't know it. So I called you,
and that's what we do. And like I said, some of that's
you worked in it for 15 years. Like you know the structure, the people that are in the business, who to call.
Right. And it's not just who to call, but what steps you have to get through to get, reach your goals. You and I have talked about it many times about, setting your goals. Here's what we need to do. Corporations and nonprofits are all are the same. Here's what we need to do. Sometimes it's funding, sometimes it's just a regulatory issue. So you call us, we, understand the situation, we build you a strategy, we help you execute your strategy, and try to move your priorities forward.
Just hold the microphone
closer. All right.
Yeah. Then I can turn this down a little bit. We'll get that part cut out, but so tell me how the transition came though. Like I think we talked about a couple people that were at the CSG office that you had worked with in your time at government, or how did you end up over there? I forget what the connection was to make the switch.
I was deputy chief of staff to Premier Moe from 2018 till when I left in 2021, and was taking the calls from folks like me or folks like you that would be trying to move something forward in government, and maybe hit a roadblock somewhere or didn't quite know what they were doing. So, I was taking those calls inside and honestly saw some people that did it well and some people that maybe didn't do it as well. Often equal important priorities. And I started thinking then that, there's a market for me to help you do this. And it's not, anything secret or anything. It's just, here's the process that you should go through. And, folks that have asked for a meeting with the premier that aren't ready for that meeting. And I sat in many of them, had the privilege to do it. There's, I've told this story before, but, somebody came in, they just wanted $1 billion, and they'll slurry canola from Saskatchewan and send it right to the coast in a pipeline. Well, the government of Saskatchewan's not going to invest in that. But, maybe not a great idea anyways. But there's people with great ideas that, whether they're a startup or a company that's been around for 100 years, that just don't, go through the steps. And so we help you with that and that strategy to, move your priorities forward.
Huh. And well, so let's go back to the time with with the boss, with Mr. Wall. Talk about how that kind of came to be and working in his office. And one of the first times I came out here, you took me into your office at the legislature in Regina. I thought that was really neat, just to go and see all that and kind of get a little inside picture of what the day-to-day looks like and what all kind of goes on. But talk about the political career and how you got into it. You went to you have your Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from the U of R here. That was your, I guess, right out of high school. Did you go there from like what, 03 to 06
I went to
or something, or
what I call the University of Weyburn, Southeast Regional College. I went to my first year there in arts. Actually, I had planned on taking education, being a teacher.
Oh, really? No way.
Did not get accepted into
the Faculty of Education.
Faculty of Education
At the U of R or somewhere else?
At the U of R, yeah.
Oh, really? No way.
I don't know if my first year university marks had anything to do with that.
Or was it high school?
I was a good high school student. I think my average is close to 90, so I should have been
good work. Got me beat.
A shoe in there.
I almost failed grade 11 English, by the way. Grade 10 and 11.
Now you're right for a living.
Look at me now.
Well, that's why.
Look at me now, teacher lady.
That's why you're talking more than writing blog posts.
Yeah. You can see my penmanship's a little bit messy.
But ended up in my 4-year degree. It took me 5 years. Just experiencing everything.
Yeah, there's a few beers in there.
Yeah, the pump was still going, and as was JD's. So
on the east side of Regina.
But I worked on Dustin Duncan, who is the former health minister, energy minister. Recently didn't run in this last election that we just finished here in Saskatchewan. But
congrats on the win, by the way, for the Saskatchewan Party once again.
You bet. But Dustin ran in a by-election in 2006, and I helped him on the doorsteps and in the office there. And then the general election in 2007 was when the Sask Party came to power. Him and I and a cowboy from the south, Murray McGilvery.
Okay.
We hit a pile of doors, and
that was right out of college then too, right?
Yeah, I finished in 2007.
You changed course after year one. You didn't get into the education faculty.
Right. So I was just kind of hanging around, taking some poli-sci classes. And
what got your interest in politics though? Where did that even start?
I've always been, interested. It's a funny story, and if anybody from Weyburn around my age remembers, Lauren Calvert came to an assembly, and I think it was 2001.
Like like in high school. Okay. Yeah. And he was a local MLA.
He was the premier.
The premier. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm sorry I don't know this.
No, that's okay. An NDP premier. No, he's an NDP premier.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And there was some folks older than me that got to the microphone. It was an open mic session with.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't happen that much in politics anymore.
I guess not. But back in 2001, back in the Wild West.
Yeah.
And was this 2001 like pre 9/11 or post? I wonder if that was part of it. Must be pre.
Yeah, it would have been that
in the
spring. Yeah.
Okay. You were 17.
Yeah, and
Graham Stewart.
Some of these guys, farm kids from Weyburn, either oil field or farm, really. Some business owners too, but they went to the mic and asked questions.
And they were busting his balls because he's NDP, and NDP really drove things south in Saskatchewan for a long time.
In rural Saskatchewan, for sure.
Rural, yeah. That's like kind of where it was. Like I can honestly say that it's not really an opinion. Like the jobs were like the job market was rough, the economy was rough, and things really took a turn going the right way for Sask with the new government. I want to say,
yeah, I wrote these
things been rocking and rolling lately.
these briefing notes forever, and I might get the number wrong, but I think it's 176 schools they closed, and
The NDP closed 176
yeah,
schools.
and 52 rural hospitals,
Holy shit!
plus the plains, I think is what the number is. And
Holy shit!
somebody in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong, but it's dang close to that. The 176, I'm sure of, but I think it's 52 plus the plains, which was just on
Holy shit!
this side of Regina.
What was their intention with that?
It was
Money?
Yeah,
Trying to save money?
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
There was a tough financial situation there. Don't get me wrong, but anyways, to the story in
Are they the way the
comprehensive school.
Are they the reason why the roads are so bad out here?
I think it's partly geography and her
Fair.
geology. I don't know which one.
Yeah, fair.
And partly
Lack of
the
public
NDP
funding?
actually told folks, and my good friend Yogi Hugabear, who's passed away, but they said, well, fix your own highways down in the Southwest.
They said fix it yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
If you want it fixed, just go fix it.
Oh gosh.
But
okay.
To the point.
Moving on. Sorry.
Yeah. Premier Calvert, who I've met and I respect. Got booed in the Weyburn Comprehensive.
In your high school?
High school.
When they introduced him.
So you knew things were starting to shift at that point.
And he still took questions?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
kudos to that.
After the questions is when the booing started. And then we had to have a second assembly the next day to get lectured on how you don't do that. Fair enough.
Who started the booze? We won't say. We won't say who started them.
I got a couple ideas who did it, but
oh man. But when you come to a place of like agriculture and oil field town and you're the NDP premier, like you probably had a feeling.
Yeah, but there's a statue along the river in Weyburn of Tommy Douglas. That's where he was from, and he's the
fair enough
former premier. So that piqued my interest. I think working with Dustin on these campaigns and seeing his vision for the province. Also, he actually was a staffer in the opposition caucus for the Saskatchewan Party.
Okay.
Before he ran, and he's like, there is a job in this in the end if you want. And I was like, holy cow! I was planning to.
And you were like 22 or 3.
Well,
just out of school.
Yeah. Well, I was still in school.
Oh, okay. At that point.
06, yeah. Well, I took an extra year, right?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Getting
my timeline off.
No, that's all right. He's like, there's a job. So I finished in May of 07. There was a general election in November that year. That's when Premier Wall was successful, when the Saskatchewan Party won their first mandate. Now 5 after October 28th. So, yeah, I started working. He was a staffer in the caucus office. That's where I started to. I credit Dustin for a pile of it. One of my honestly heroes in politics, and politics is so tough, Ted. You probably get shit from stuff you say on the podcast. I'm
all the time.
Guessing I will too.
All the time.
But these guys,
you'll get a little bit for sure.
These guys, as the health minister,
pretty good
the
though.
Minister of Energy and Resources, Minister of Crowns, at the grocery store, you're going to pick up milk, or
then you get trouble
milk replacer for your kids, and somebody catches you, and there's lots of talk in especially online on X, I guess, if you
Twitter,
take that on Twitter.
Yep.
And you see memes going around about politicians are paid too much.
I don't know about that.
Try leaving
for the amount of shit you
try leaving your job and taking shit no matter
what you do.
Your job, but
no matter what you do.
Too. I mean, I've known many of them on both sides of the aisle, the NDP, the Sask Party, others in Alberta, and there's not enough that would make me want to subject me and my family to some of that. And people are so crazy on Twitter. They think they can say
anything.
The Jason Kelsey thing the other day where he smashed that kid's phone. Well, you can't talk so much shit and not expect some repercussions, right? I mean, you can't do that as a politician, but
Thank you for caring enough to share. That's what Keenan told me about people and their feedback.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you for caring enough to share. Right?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of replies to that.
The social media guys, for the premiers and other ministers, that could be a response.
Yeah.
Thank you for caring enough to share.
Yeah. Man, yeah, I never thought about. Well, there's a bunch that could go that way. We got to talk a couple of stories there, and just I guess getting to be friends with Mr. Wallach and getting to be working with him, and then being part of his crew for 3 successful elections as well. Or sorry, 2 with him, and then 1 with Scott Moe. Correct?
Yeah, I mean, I started after the '07. He won
Okay,
in
yeah.
'07, 11, and 16.
Yes. So 2 with Brad, and then 1 with Scott.
Yeah,
Yeah, essentially.
yeah, you bet. Uh, yeah, Brad's a great individual.
Yeah.
Always kind of wanted to be a cowboy.
Yeah.
He's becoming one now. Him and Coulter.
Has a bit more time on his hands to be able to do that now.
Yeah, he gets shit all the time that he, quit being premier and moved to Alberta, but he still lives in
Still lives
Southwest
in Southwest
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan,
You
yeah.
bet, Cypress Hills.
Cypress Hills, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and for those that don't know, we're talking about Brad Wall, former Premier of Saskatchewan, 3 terms, about what, 12 years as Premier of Saskatchewan? Is that correct?
I think it's
Little bit
more than
more.
that.
It's plus the
07
first
to
one.
18, 11.
11, okay.
11
So,
a bit. Yep.
but his son Coulter Wall previously been on the show, and actually Brad's been on the show briefly too to talk about the Ad Breakaway campaign back in the spring. But just for context, for those that might not know,
Sure.
Brad's son is Coulter, the musician, and was former premier. So sorry, please proceed. Just wanted to
Yeah.
explain that.
Yeah, exactly.
And you worked in his office for
I did. Yeah, I worked
quite a while.
for him and with him.
Traveled with them.
Did a little bit of traveling, more so with Scott on the travel side. But
Okay. Who did you go to India with?
Yeah, with Scott Moe.
With Scott Moe.
We
Okay.
can get to that a little bit later. But
Yeah.
With Brad,
It's a
always
wild
wanted to be a cowboy.
trip. Yeah.
Talked about it. Now he is becoming one. They run yearlings down there in Cypress County. The last few days that he was in office, we were roping a chair in the premier's office, which is pretty cool. Yeah, one of the best things in my life. You serve. Lots of people probably have watched West Wing and others. You serve at the pleasure of the premier, and it really was a pleasure. Yeah, Brad had a very strong path for Saskatchewan, and I think he delivered on that path. Scott took over when Brad stepped away in the fall of 17. We started a leadership convention. I helped on Premier Moe's leadership campaign. There was lots of people helping. I'm not saying I played a pivotal role or anything, but I believed in him, as did most of caucus. And he was, I think it was January 26th. I might be wrong. He was right there when he was, when he officially won the premier's office,
Okay.
the premiership,
Yep.
and the leadership of the Saskatchewan Party. And I started working for him then. Had great opportunities. Saskatchewan exports the majority of what we produce. It looks pretty snowy out here right now, but that was a pea field and that was a canola field.
Wonder where in the world those went to.
Yeah, it'd be in
kind of interesting to look. Oh, really?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Some
Feeding the world out of our backyard.
It is. Yeah, and that's
really
what it's so important. And there's lots of criticisms. We talked about politicians' salaries, but there's criticism about travel and budgets on traveling. Well, when you're selling canola, lentils, uranium,
potash too,
all to India,
mm-hmm.
the leader of Saskatchewan should go to India.
Yeah,
Alberta's been doing it for years. They've got offices around Saskatchewan. In the last, I think, 7 or 8 years, have started having offices. Well, sometimes we share space with Alberta.
Yep.
But it's important to be there. So yeah, I had the privilege of going to Beijing with Premier Moe.
Oh, right on.
Representatives from Mosaic, Cameco, Potash Corps, Nutrien. We went and we're representing Saskatchewan, selling products. They, these big companies and little companies do business there, but that government to government conversation is important. So I would never make any apologies for budgets from Alberta, BC, anywhere on this important issue of trade. It's our biggest thing.
The amount of business, like if we can't sell it all in our home area, then it's got to go somewhere. It's literally one of the best places to produce these things in the world. And another one big one
It
that's
is.
coming up is lithium now too. There's a lot of like lithium's becoming a big thing in the Saskatchewan area too, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah.
Yeah, with the amount of batteries that we're gonna have to produce to run all the electric cars, we're gonna need some lithium.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I worked with Prairie Lithium, now
Yeah.
Arizona Lithium for years. And, uh, you know, an important resource that's becoming more and more important, especially with the geopolitical issues
Yep.
with China and Russia now. We need to produce those here.
Absolutely.
You know, we should build the batteries here at some point too. I'm guessing, you know, I'm guessing there's a federal change in government happening, so maybe it won't be
Hopefully.
quite as Quebec focused.
Hopefully.
But either way, this resource is here. It's plentiful. And guys like Zach Maurer with Arizona Lithium have found the best way to get it out of the ground with, you know, very little environmental effects. Yeah,
Yep.
impacts. We're not strip mining it. It's coming out on a wellhead, kind of like
Yeah, like it's kind of already
oil
out of the
gas
ground.
does.
It's more processing, I believe.
Yeah,
If I
exactly. So
understand the process properly.
So yeah, that's going to be a big one. Rare earth minerals in general.
Yeah.
There's others. You know, the first copper mine in Canada is being built by Foran Mining in northern Saskatchewan right now.
Copper mine.
Yeah,
Really? We've never had a copper mine in Canada before?
there hasn't been a new one built for I think 50 years.
No way. Dang, this is interesting. What else can you tell
Dan
me?
Meyerson is leading Foran Mining.
Yeah.
Also a client. I'll disclose
For
that. but,
CSG, okay.
yeah,
Dang.
we went through this all, and they're going to be operating hopefully the end of next year, but probably in 2026.
No way.
Great economic driver for the area.
Well, in northern Saskatchewan, like, what's the access like to get it out of there after? Like, how far north are we talking? I don't know a ton of the geography, but
it's straight west of Flin Flon. Flin
Oh,
Flon,
really?
a copper mine
Oh.
for a lot of years.
Cool.
Hud Bay Mining Co.
Okay.
owned it.
Yeah.
This is just a new deposit.
Right on.
Hud Bay is
But it's
closed
access through Flin Flon?
yeah.
Is that
If you fly in, you fly to Flin Flon.
Okay.
Otherwise, you drive to PA.
Yeah.
See our friends the Burns, and then
Yeah. Keep going north
head her
and
a little
further
bit
east?
northeast.
Huh. Dang. So like straight north of Nipawin or what? No, straight north of like
East.
Yorkton.
Yeah.
East
Yeah.
and north. Oh,
Go
interesting. Huh. Sorry, this is a little bit of
Yeah.
Saskatchewan geography for us now too.
Draw a map here.
Yeah. What else? What else can you tell us though? What other new stuff you got coming up here, Graham? Or what other stuff is in the pipe for Saskatchewan, I guess, or Alberta? Some of the stuff you're working on that we might not know about.
Well,
Now I'm curious about this.
We can talk a little bit about like the election that just happened in October.
Yeah.
You know, a substantial shift in politics. The Saskatchewan Party won, I think, 34 seats, all outside of the major centers, Regina and Saskatoon, except for one.
Yeah.
Ken Cheveldayoff was successful in Saskatoon, but you know, a pretty significant rural urban split, I guess I would say.
Okay. Which is pretty prevalent most places these days. I want to say like Edmonton's pretty orange and Calgary is relatively
I
orange.
think they call it Redmonton.
Redmonton? Oh yeah. It used to be. Now it's anyways.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
But you know, a significant shift, 27 seats for the New Democratic Party, and they worked for them. But most of them are close. So there's been a lot of talk in the media about a rural urban divide in Saskatchewan. And it looks like it on the map, right?
Same with Canada though too.
Yeah, if you look at it, I mean, there's the two northern ridings that the NDP won. The rest are all in the big cities. That said, I think if you look at the medium-sized cities, PA, Moose Jaw,
Yorkton,
Weyburn, Estevan,
Swift,
the Saskatchewan Party won in all those. So there's still that urban spot, and lots of those are close in the cities too, right? A couple were under 100 votes, but that to say, and the premier said it on his speech on election night that a lot of people voted for the Saskatchewan Party, a lot of people didn't, and we're going to govern for both.
Yeah,
so I think
best we can.
A focus on healthcare and education is coming. I think that mentality of this is how we've done it, so let's keep doing it that way is out the door. I think
can't do it.
wasn't there. I had the privilege of sitting in cabinet at one point in my career, but I'm not there now. I'm assuming Premier Moe had said that to his cabinet and his caucus that, if you got good ideas,
Bring him.
bring them forward. I would say, not him, but I would say, call CSG if you got good ideas, and we can help you bring them forward in the right way. But all that to say, I think you'll see less of that comparison to the old NDP that my high school friends booed.
It's probably less relevant now. It's been quite a while now.
It is.
It's been like 20 years.
Just about.
Yeah. What about I gotta ask you quick on the federal election in the States too, with Trump winning, getting back in again too. What are your thoughts on that? What can you say without getting fired?
I've lost money on every federal election.
I didn't know you could bet on that.
Oh yeah, you can bet with your friends or
Oh,
online. I had to give my friend Brett Olson with Western Feeds a Texas Mickey of vodka for Trump beating Hillary. I didn't think there's any chance of that.
And you're in politics. Is he a political guy too? Like how much who had the inside track on that one? Did you or did he, or is it total crapshoot because it's US?
I don't know. There's 30 million US residents that
300
million. Yeah, 30 million here.
Yeah.
300 million that
the way they're thinking.
No, it was
I didn't think
an
this one would be
educated guess, I guess, but I lost.
I didn't think this one would be this decisive. I just thought it would be closer. I'm impressed that he won by that much this time.
Yeah, I actually thought that Kamala would win the
popular
vote.
Yeah,
he'd win enough states.
Yeah,
this time, but it wasn't even close.
He just kicked serious ass all across the board.
I mean, the Democrats made a huge mistake
by switching that late.
Yeah, should have done it earlier.
Yeah,
I think.
But Biden was never going to win again against Trump.
Right.
But in my opinion, I could have been wrong.
Make that decision a year
before. Yeah, don't do it 3 months before.
No,
they set him up. They set her up for failure by doing it that late.
Yeah,
and being indecisive about it. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, there's a pile of people that listen to this podcast that are
definitely Republican.
Yeah, and
for sure
Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're in for a bit of trouble in Canada, and I think
our dollar's going to go to shit.
We would have been either way. The dollar would go to shit. I think.
Yeah.
Well, Trump's talking about trying to drive WTI down to $40 a barrel.
Oh gosh.
Just drill, baby, drill, which isn't great for us, especially when we're selling on a different
and already selling at a discount.
Yeah, exactly. So there's going to be a little bit of that trouble. I know.
But he's battling the Middle East on the oil and Russia on the oil. Probably that's probably part of it.
That's why he wants to do it. Drill here. Yeah.
It's a global piece. I'm a little nervous on some of the tariffs of exports from Canada. We're talking about the global scale.
Yeah.
What that's going to look like.
Yeah.
And for
India is going to become more and more important for
us
Saskatchewan
as a trade partner.
Yeah.
And probably China too, if they're one of our biggest buyers of our goods.
Yeah. They change at the drop of a hat too, right?
Okay.
Hopefully this doesn't get us in geopolitical trouble, but
but it's 2 billion people. It's a third of the world's population. Well, not a third, a quarter of the world's population in those two countries.
Yeah. So yeah, going to be important no matter what.
Interesting.
I don't think there's been a trade mission to China since I went.
Or Saskatchewan.
Yeah, or
Alberta.
Alberta, I think.
Oh, really?
Oh
wow.
Maybe there has. Maybe I'm wrong. Just the geopolitical side of things is tough, but
it's interesting to talk like on this big scale. It's this is cowboy shit and we're kind of talking in the rodeo world and everything, but we're kind of going a little off topic today and from the rodeo world, but everything's connected in some way. We were supposed to go to China with the PBR in 2014, I want to say. We had a whole tour planned. We were supposed to go over there. They flew the bulls up from Australia and there was Chinese communist red buck and shoots. Like they were very, very bright red buck and shoots. Like everything was really set up and they were training the guys over there. And I was supposed to go for 2 months for an entire August and September or something to go over there for a long time. So I would love to see it happen. I was hoping to go and, you know what I mean? Like just to get that many, 1 billion potential people to watch our sport or go to have a bull riding event. And we were supposed to go to Qingdao and another place, but it was
up north, maybe Harbin.
I forget now, but it was going to be pretty epic to go to go see it and
Or Shanghai.
show it to a new. Yeah, I think we were supposed to go to Shanghai too, but
Probably.
yeah, it was gonna be a pretty epic trip to go and show bull riding to that many people and do. We were supposed to do like 3 shows a week or something, and
Yeah.
I wish it would have happened. I would love to go make it happen again. But anyway, sorry, another
Yeah.
sidebar.
Um,
There's definitely a
when-
lot of rural stuff, rural parts of China that people don't really realize. It's not all just cities and
yeah, we went to
and-
Beijing,
factories.
and it is like you expect from the airport. There, it was gridlocked the whole way.
Yeah,
Um,
people everywhere. But it's like, what is it, like a 30 million person city?
or 40, I think.
40,
yeah.
like it's humongous.
But then we flew from there up north, and I think he's still smoking the planes there.
Oh, really?
We went up to
Jeez.
Harbin, which is just south of the Russian border.
Oh, wow.
Very like Russian architecture, and it was. We went to some farms with Mosaic and others that are selling potash there, Nutrien, and very much agrarian, and
Well, they got to feed all their own people and then some,
yeah,
right? Like they probably don't export really any of their food in China. I'm just making an assumption.
No, but I
Yeah.
assume not.
Assume not. They got to feed their own people.
Yeah.
Dang. That's wild. What about the?
So that's why
Sorry.
companies like Mosaic and Nutrien are helping them grow more from each acre, right? That's why they're important. Their
yeah.
potash is so important.
I see. And especially India. You mentioned. I remember you mentioning that before, where they have to make more use of their current farmland. Well, even like I had the thought too. I was just somewhere Edmonton. I was in Edmonton on Friday and drove to Drayton Valley and went and took a route that I hadn't been on in quite a while. So it was kind of used to be like the back roadway
Yeah.
from Drayton to Edmonton on Highway 627. So it's kind of like goes by the mines. It goes
Yeah.
by the coal mines, Keep Hills, Genesee, like that kind of that
Yeah.
road. And it comes out at like Lassard Road in the southwest part of Edmonton.
Okay, yeah.
And I hadn't been on the north-south part of that road in a long time, that like little connection. I just went other ways or whatever's going on. But I was like, holy shit, this all used to be farmland and it's all houses now.
Right.
And it got me thinking, I'm like, the urban sprawl and even around Calgary too.
Oh yeah, my
the amount of
friend lives in
Oaks, yeah.
It's pretty much you got like
There's barely
3
any
miles,
separation.
3
Yeah.
miles, I think, when you go up the hill there.
But a lot of that used to be farmland. It made me think like, what's the global look at the loss of farmland and like how many acres are going away? Although I wonder how many of acres of bush get cleared for new farmland.
True,
Like
yeah.
I know that Brazilian Amazon, I've read a lot about that, where a lot of that gets cleared, but they don't want to lose the Amazon, but we also need the space to farm. So like I wonder how much of that comes up on the political side of things now. That's the environmental impact, I guess, is part of
Right.
it.
Well, I mean, when we were
Interesting.
growing up, it was called the breadbasket, and you can look south here
Yeah.
as far as you can see, and it's farmland, right?
Yeah, all the way to the border essentially.
Yeah,
And then
So-
across the border, all the way to probably Omaha.
pretty much. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think they're not making more of it. We all know that.
Yeah.
But it's here.
Well, clearing a bit, maybe, but
but
probably
we're-
not a
we're
lot.
Probably losing as much as
As we're
we're gaining.
we're
I
losing
would
more than we're
imagine.
gaining.
Probably. I don't know.
Anyways,
Um,
sorry.
yeah.
Sidebar. We got a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah. But you know, cattle prices are good.
Yeah, best
Um,
ever. Some places.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Kind of everywhere.
Mhm.
So I don't see a monumental shift in that. There's going to be urban sprawl and land prices are going to go up. So
Mhm.
we should buy some. But food security is going to continue to be important, and that's what the governments of Alberta and Saskatchewan and others are focused on, and I think that's going to continue to be important.
Let's go back to the roping side of things.
Yeah.
I had one note though. First, volunteer firefighter. I forgot that you were a volunteer firefighter. That's kind of in the area out here, and it's probably a very rural thing for you. But I just wanted to make sure we talked
Yeah,
about that a
sure.
little bit. I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, Vibank, it's I think 18 kilometers
Back to the southeast,
east of here, yeah,
Yeah.
down the highway.
Highway 48.
You bet.
Yeah.
I joined shortly after we moved here. I think we've been here just over 8 years. Didn't really know anybody in the area,
Mhm.
so joined to meet people and
Okay.
hopefully
Help
help
out
people.
when
right?
needed. Yeah.
It's important to be part of the community, and yeah, we put out some fires. This highway's been pretty busy. We were actually supposed to have some training today
Mhm.
on motor vehicle extraction.
Okay.
Uh,
That's getting people out of vehicles, right?
it is, yeah,
like
and
the-
accidents, and there's been a few
yeah.
accidents, which is tough, and it's
Hopefully it's not people
the
you
worst
know
part,
super often.
worst part of the job
Yeah.
is that side of things. But yeah, the Vibank Volunteer Fire Department, we about a year ago, I think it was, we were down to 9 members.
Oh, geez. That's not very many.
No, and
And you got to be on call for a certain amount of time, likely.
we're
Or a
always
couple
on
of you.
call. Yeah, like
You
if
all-
this
oh.
if this went off right now,
You
it's
have
got
to
a
go.
different ring. Then yeah,
Oh, geez.
you'd be
You'd
talking
be
to one of the kids
Yeah.
or by
Fun
yourself.
pause.
But yeah, super important. We do important work. Went from 9 members to 23. That's what I was saying.
Oh, okay. Well,
Did like a recruitment drive, and
if you didn't know, Dustin Edwards was a huge part of volunteer firefighter back in his area, Big Valley, for
oh, awesome.
I want to say for a long time, like a big part of his life. I want to say like probably 15 years worth.
That's awesome. We've got the Enbridge line 3 is right like a quarter of a mile this way.
Yeah.
And TC's line is there too. So they've
Yeah.
been very supportive too,
Big
both
pipelines.
Enbridge and
Yeah.
and TC Energy of the department.
Yeah.
You know,
If anything happens with that, do you guys got to go help out with that? I don't know how
they've
it
got
works.
their own crews
Okay.
mostly. You know, we'd probably be on traffic control type
Yeah, yeah.
duties. But like they've been very good on the grant side to make
Okay.
sure we have what we need,
Funding and
especially with
gear.
these next. Yeah, we added those 14 or 15 new members.
Yeah.
And received grants from their community fund
Okay.
to suit them up. And
Oh, yeah.
I think TC gave us, we've got a command truck, like a 3/4 ton gas Dodge that
Oh, perfect.
they gave us and deckled for us. And
Right on.
yeah, just great companies that understand
out.
why small towns are important.
Okay, we got to go back to the roping side of things.
Yeah,
though.
right.
Okay, so we talked about a few different things, but where do you want to start on the roping side of things? So
I just
leave you
think
to it.
the team roping in Canada has progressed so much over the last, call it 20 years. I think
I want to say 01 was the first CFR with team roping, wasn't it?
01 was? Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
I think you're right. It was 2002 when Murray and Rocky were Olympic champions.
Yeah, Salt Lake City.
You bet. You know, it's just come so far. We've had world champions from Canada. There's going to be more. There's going to be more NFR qualifiers, but there's going to be champions too. You know, whether it's the Graham brothers, they were so close this year. Just a couple.
Not far off last year either.
Yeah, just a couple tough goes, but they're going to keep going.
And they're young. They're like early 20s.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, really young still.
Yeah. You know, my kids ask me, "Oh, are you ever going to go pro?" I was like, "No, that ship sailed about 20 years ago. I turned 40 this year." But
happy birthday, by the way.
yeah, if you know, you went from those first few in those, you know, godfathers in Canada, you know, Murray Linthicum, Rocky Dolan, Troy Fisher, Ronald Schmidt, those guys that got it started. And you can't talk about it without talking about Lyle Kurtz, who's brought it all the way. Well, over the last 23 years, I guess it is 24 almost.
I don't know either, but I got to say Jeff Robson's probably been
Jeff. Yeah,
he's had to have been a major part of that. He's been a big part of the CPRA for many years on a volunteer side of things, and and as the GM and a number of different things. But
and
CFR roles.
Talking about Lyle, and I mean, Around the Saddlehorn, which is a Facebook group, team roping side of things, talked about or asked all the CFR qualifiers your favorite rodeo, and most of them said Ponoka because Lyle added equal money, and
that's right. Yeah,
it's, you know, a huge difference maker. It's going to continue to be.
I mean, 45,000, 45 or 50. No, it's $60,000 added per event now.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah, both sides.
Yeah, on each side.
Yeah, and it's huge. I sat on the CCA board. I was a vice president for a long time, and we were having the same conversation about equal money then. And I think the minimum at that point was $600 a side or any major event. And it was hard then. And I get it's hard for committees, but, you know, team ropers are kind of like the breakaway. They're exciting. They're, you know, the healers at least are supporting the beer stands when they're there. And, you know, I think it's important. So, you know, there's a lot of guys right now that have been south. They're coming back for the Maple Leaf finals, but trying to get into these winter rodeos. You know, Cavis, I think Denham's into a few of them already, but Trey Galley, Tice and T and Sid, like those guys are gonna make a run for it, and don't count guys like Colton and Bueller, right?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
And yeah, there's a reason that most of the previous world champions outside of a few come up for that summer run when Pinoca's around. I'd love to see the team roping in Calgary as well. I know they got it outside there, but
Yeah.
I
I wonder what it'll take for that to happen.
It's not going to happen. But
no,
no, I think Winston would roll over in his grave if it did.
I wonder though, because I wonder what the, what the changes coming for Calgary might be. Because one of the things with the Stampede, and I think they did a nice job of including the novice still in certain pieces, like making it kind of one day with the novice bareback, one day with the novice bronc riding, steer riding was in certain spots, but there's probably still space for some change at the Stampede in some capacity. I don't know what it would look like, but it'd be interesting to see the breakaway in that arena. It'd be but there's two now, so which one's going to take precedence? And then what is it counts for the PRCA standings right now, but it's not a full rodeo. And if the breakaway becomes a full event, like I wonder, I'm just speculating. I'm totally speculating on what might happen. But on the other side of things, they still are paying 50,000. So I wonder if and when that becomes 100 again, or what it looks like. Because previously, before all the COVID kicked things back, they were looking at what the next step was back then. But they haven't got back to being, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, but they haven't got back to being a $2 million rodeo again yet either.
No, I don't think they have.
Yeah.
I think.
And they definitely, I know that they had a big hole to dig out of, but I want to say we're post-COVID enough maybe now that we can, with the new BMO up and running, I feel like there's probably some revenue coming back now again, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Curious to see what happens there.
I mean, we have our Stampede party every year, so I've been for the last, I think,
few years,
3 or 4. Ted didn't make it last year.
I had the wrong day, didn't I?
Yeah.
I think I just looked totally the wrong day, or it was over top of bull busting or something. Like, I don't know what happened.
Anyways,
I also was going through some shit. I'm sorry about, I was a bit busy that week.
No worries. But that said, it seemed busier than it has for the last few years this year. We try to take our staff at CSG. There's, I think, 16 of us all together, or maybe 18. Take them to the rodeo, and they become fans. I think the breakaway fits really good there. It can't.
It's easy to understand too.
Yeah, it can't.
No offense to team roping. Team roping is easy to understand too, but they have so much backlash on the animal side of things, being in downtown Calgary. But I mean, the other side of it though is that when there's a good run in the tie down roping, the crowd cheers. There are rodeo fans at the Calgary Stampede that understand the rodeo.
Yeah,
there are people that go to the rodeo every year that live in Calgary, and there are a lot of people that travel to go to the Calgary Stampede. But I'm quite surprised by the amount of Calgarians that support the rodeo and truck wagons every year.
Oh, for
There's
sure.
more. When I thought it was like 90-10 back in the day, where it was 90% tourist like
event
crowd, I was wrong with that, because there's a lot of people that are from Calgary that go to the Calgary Stampede or the area that go and watch rodeo and are fans of the rodeo.
Yep.
More than I realized.
Yep, I agree. And that's
sorry, go ahead.
Part of, I don't want breakaway to replace tie down roping. I think that's
I agree
a staple
with you on
and
that.
important.
Yes, and it's part of our heritage too. I think that part
is.
of, if we're going to talk, I'm not trying to make things up here, but if we're going to talk strategy, I feel like the strategy for the Calgary Stampede needs to be a little more firm. And I'm making this up here again. I'm not I'm not saying what's going to happen or what should happen.
Right.
But in my opinion, I think there should be some more strategy towards, no, we're not taking away the calf roping. We're not taking away the chuck wagon racing. We're going to go back to 4 wagons. That's how it's supposed to be. Of course, there's the numbers and the stats and the spin on this and that, and there's less injuries maybe on the horse side of things with less animals, but there's going to be less because there is less. If you take something out of it, you're obviously going to go down. If you go down to 2 wagons or 1 wagon, you're going to have less horse injuries. It's unfortunately part of the sport partially, but if you want to go to the other side of it, those horses are all off the racetrack that didn't have a future otherwise. And then in the chuck wagon racing side of things. So I think there's got to be a little more of like pushback and like, no, this is what we're going to do. This is our heritage. We're not going to back off of the Western way of life and what we do.
Right.
this is agriculture. This is how these things are in the West. And, I'm sorry that it might hurt your feelings on parts of it, but also if you don't like it, you don't have to support it. We can have a difference of opinion and maybe not,
Sure.
I just think there should be a little more pushback
Yeah,
on like,
and I think
we're going to do
Calgary's
this.
taken a ton of steps on the animal welfare side. There's veterinarians there for
Absolutely.
in each barn in the
Absolutely.
duck wagon racing, and
Yeah.
and a good friend of mine, Sean Francis, is a stock guy for the rodeo, has been for as long as I've known him, 25 years probably. Those bucking horses and bulls get looked after better
Absolutely.
than most,
Most
dude ranches
dogs
outside of Calgary.
most dogs in
Yeah.
people's houses.
Yeah,
If you want to really compare it, there's those animals are probably treated better than most house pets.
Oh, for sure.
And most the humane societies, I bet you that we treat our animals better than a lot of the of the people that are giving us shit.
And are they going to go back to 4 chucks? Probably not.
Probably not,
But
unfortunately.
you can see I think you do the tarp raffle or the tarp auction.
I've been
most
to it.
years.
I haven't been part of it the last couple of years, but I'm around a lot of Stampede stuff, and
right, and
probably will be more of
it's
this
still
coming year.
yeah, and it's still very popular.
Absolutely, hugely popular.
I think unless Trump
Still
does
the most well attended event of Stampede is the chuck wagon racing in the
for
main
sure.
show. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's better attended than the rodeo.
Yeah. So I think you won't see changes the other way, but I think you're right. We got to hold on to what we believe in.
Which is what it was founded on in 1912, which is kind of crazy that it was the last, what they called the last great stampede in 1912 and then again in 1919, but that was what they were trying to do back then. And I think maybe going back to some of that, well, actually, so Bree mentioned to me the other day that one of the new marketing campaigns that they just came out with was that agriculture is for every culture, because without agriculture, we wouldn't be, we're not, that's where our meals come from,
Right.
folks.
Agribition does a good job of that too. There's, I'm not sure, just because it's July, it doesn't work for Calgary, but there's school bus after school bus that comes in, and it's figuring out where your food comes from.
Well, and that's Aggie Days for Stampede. So they have an entire whole event called Aggie Days, which is full of school kids, and that was an event I did for a number of years as a music guy. We would go and do Aggie Days every April. That was kind of the timing, and now the tarp auction is at a similar time, I want to say. But yeah, school bus is like, we filled the Nutrien Event Center, like 2,500 people with school kids every day at like noon. That was the kids' lunch hour, was to watch the rodeo, right? Like, and that was a Stampede piece that cost them a lot of money. Like that's a
convention rodeo type.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like hour-long kind of show to teach kids about egg. But there's animals all on the entire underneath. Like there's sheep and there's pigs and there's goats and there's chickens and cows and and horses. Like it's where your food comes from, kids. Like, this is how this works.
Yeah, and that's what
kids that don't know anything
does
about
as
it.
well.
Yeah,
I remember, probably being in grade 5 in Weyburn, and we took the bus and went to Agribition.
Really? No way. That's a hell of a field trip.
Yeah, it was awesome. And they had a cow that they cut kind of in the loin, and you could look through and see guts and lots of stuff like that. And they do it in Brandon too at their winter fair. That's super important, as there's more and more new Canadians, but Canadians that live in urban centers, and it goes back to that perceived rural urban divide. There's a reason why we're burning diesel out here to get those peas off or that canola off, because people around the world need fed, and that's food security spot. And I think federally we've kind of lost that piece of it.
Support, maybe.
Yeah, I think Polyev will be the next prime minister, and hopefully there's more of that. After Boissonneau had to step down from cabinet, there's nobody in the federal cabinet from Alberta or Saskatchewan. We didn't elect any Liberals here, but you guys got a couple.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Edmonton.
But there's nobody representing these
Western
two provinces,
values.
which is difficult.
Okay, so I got a message from JP Veach back in the spring, back pre-Stampede.
Yep.
I don't know if I told you this, but he was like, "Hey, can you get me a buckle made for Pierre? I needed to say axe to tax." So I couldn't get it done with Montana in time, so I called Craig Becker. I was like, or I gave JP Craig's number. I was like, "Hey, Craig's in Airdrie. He can probably do this on short notice for you because he gave me like 2 weeks. But I got him hooked up with Craig, so he made a buckle for Pierre for the parade, Calgary Stampede
Sweet.
Parade. It said Axe Attack. So I thought you'd be happy to hear that Pierre's
Yeah.
got a buckle that says that.
Yeah, we definitely need to axe attacks
for
here.
for our American listeners, Axe Attacks is a what would you call it?
It's a
Phrase that's
yeah, a phrase that's used by our conservative
leader.
leader about the carbon tax, putting us at a disadvantage right now, no matter
Yes.
what we produce.
Yes. Thanks a lot,
and
Trudeau.
yeah,
It's very
and,
helpful.
Yeah.
What about-
yes, rule number 1 is going to be
Axe the tax. So hopefully in the spring we'll be cutting that sucker.
Yeah,
no,
there's been-
axing it. It's not we're not cutting it. We're axing it. We're really getting rid of it.
I saw Trudeau's announcement. Everybody's getting $250 check if you make under 150 grand a year.
Oh wow.
It's coming out in April, so I'd expect an election shortly after
May?
that. But
Wow. You can't buy the
could
votes
be the
there.
fall.
Oh really?
That'd be the last
Oh dear.
option he has. But
Oh dear.
Meat gets his pension. I don't think that's actually the reason, but he gets his pension in April or February. I can't remember.
Really? Like does he have to retire? Is that what you're saying?
No, but he'd qualify for his full pension
Really?
sometime in the new year. I think it's February, maybe. But
I did appreciate Premier Moe's response to Jag Meats trying to tell him what to do about Saskatchewan.
right,
He's talking out of two sides of his
Yeah.
mouth. That was
yeah, we just ran an election. Scott said, and our premier said, and here's what we got elected on. So we'll do that. And if you want to cut taxes, stop supporting the carbon tax.
from federally, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, what else we got to talk about, Graham? I feel like we covered a lot of things today.
We did. We talked a lot.
Yeah.
People are probably going to be bored of
Hopefully not.
political jargon, and
Yeah. Anyways, it was fun though.
it's still snowing out here.
Yeah. It's kind of sunny though today. Kind of a nice looking day.
Yep.
What else for this week? What else do people need to check out at Agribition? There's the 25th edition of the Beef Supreme going to be later on in the week.
Yeah, I
Probably
was
the Saturday. I forget what day it is, but I think it's Saturday.
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah, I think the cattle show, similar to what we're talking about at exports, this brings in people from all over.
The guy that dropped me off at your house said last year he had people from almost every Canadian province. One of the courtesy car, almost every Canadian province. He said Australia, Nigeria, Ireland, but he was surprised there was very few Americans. I don't think he said he had any Americans that would have traveled, but there's got to be a lot of Americans that come to Agribition. But
yeah, quite a few.
anyways,
yeah, a lot of the beef genetics go kind of cross border. There's folks that work that, but yeah, across the world. And the Sask Cattlemen's Association, my friend Grant's their executive director, but Chad Ross, who's on the board, I'm not sure if he's the president. They just got back from Japan. They did him and his wife Crystal did a tour there talking about Canadian beef, and Japan's a rising market for sure. Just
there's some
opening those
Wagyu
markets
stuff
up.
coming around now.
Yeah,
in these parts, I guess, isn't there?
Snow Wagyu or something.
Snow
like
Wagyu. It's like ice wine.
But important to talk about those markets. I think Wednesday night, the government hosts an international reception.
Okay.
Where the trade minister will talk about how important those markets are, and how how government can help continue to open those markets. What I didn't talk about a little bit before, when the trade mission side, is it's called STEP, Saskatchewan Trade Economic Partnership, I think. I've got that wrong, but small and medium enterprises join them as a member, and they go on those missions too. So
interesting.
You might be selling honey from Tisdale or beef from Estevan, but you're there opening up doors to market your product directly. So they'll be part of that reception as well. Chris Decker's their CEO. It seems to, I think, people in Regina that this is a cowboy thing, but there's so much business that's done this week, and that's so important.
Would this be the biggest event in Saskatchewan all year long? Like, is this one of the biggest events? Like, it's easily the biggest event in the province every year, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Unless we have like the World Juniors or a Grey Cup or something, but that's not for as much time.
It's
a week-long event.
A few times.
Yeah.
And
Regina, there's Grey Cup goes different times of the year sometimes, like different weekends, or Agribition will move different weeks to make room for that. But still one of the biggest events in the province all year.
I think it was 07 correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
we finished Agribition and Grey Cup Sunday was
The next
in
day.
Regina.
Oh,
at
wow.
Mosaic.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we won that year.
Oh wow, that's a hell of a party.
Yeah, it was quite the party. Yeah, I think it's for sure the biggest ag event in I think Western Canada, probably.
Likely, besides Calgary,
Right.
or formerly Farm Fair CFR would be comparable, but ag only, this would be it. This would be number one in the whole country.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Specifically for it. Yeah.
Stampede would bring more people in.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure,
Fair.
but
Yeah.
If you look at
But for the size of
for
Regina,
animals and
this is major.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a great economic driver. The session's actually starting this week at the legislature, and
we got a party tomorrow night.
I was worried.
Monday.
Yeah, I was worried that there wouldn't be any hotels for the new MLAs because out of the 61 MLAs in Saskatchewan, 31 are new. So they won't have an apartment yet, or maybe some of them do. Some live here, so I was worried about that, but it sounds like everybody's found a place to stay. Yeah. I don't know who's going to be in the basement here or not, but
yeah, probably a couple.
Yeah, it's great. It's an economic driver. I know the Hotels Association is a big sponsor.
Yep.
I think you got dropped off in a Ford Bronco.
I did.
Ford's
brand
back,
new.
Ford's back in.
450 kilometers on it. It's brand new.
Yeah, big tires on it, but
yeah,
Ford's back in as a major sponsor. Yeah, it's going to be a great week in Regina and area.
Awesome. Well, hopefully you can join us. Once again, agribition.com. Check out all the information. Tickets are all there. If you can make it to Regina this week. If not, the rodeo will be on the Cowboy channel. But if you've never been to the Agribition, hopefully you can make it out. If you're from Regina, come check it out. If you've never been, even if you have been, come back and support the event. Huge trade show. You see a ton of agricultural equipment as part of the event. Tons of great food. Great rodeo. There's it's over now, but there's bullfights at the start of the week as well on Tuesday night. Just a ton of events. I'm going to a horse pull tomorrow night before your event as well on Monday. But yeah, it's gonna be a great week.
It'll be a little late for it, but bet on Ron Sebastian.
Yeah,
he's the guy.
He's the guy.
Yeah, and there's the Bud Light loading chute.
Yeah,
they'll be selling beer right outside. Ted and I did a live show there a couple of years
last
ago.
time we were here. Yeah, we did one with Amber Marshall too from Heartland.
Yeah,
she was part of that. We did a cooking demonstration with Amber. Remember, Wasey spilled all the French toast dough when we were making that.
So yeah, stop by for a beer and clam or Paralyzer, especially
Agribition Paralyzer. I'm gonna see how many of those I can take this week, but
he won't beat Wasey.
Great, yeah. I think he did 50 that week, and I think his guts were in bad shape for quite a while after that. But
he's lactose intolerant now.
Yeah. Graham, give a little plug for CSG as well.
Sure, you can look
find
us
the
up
info
online, CanadianStrategyGroup.com.
Yeah.
We got offices in Vancouver,
yeah,
Calgary, Edmonton, and here in Regina.
Yeah.
Great partners. You want to reach out to us, just, get a hold of Ted and get a hold of me.
We'll get you connected.
Yeah, we can figure out what's ailing you.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thanks for the time, Graham. Thanks for having me at the house, too.
You bet. Sorry that this burn pile's right there. I just noticed.
That's fine.
Oh, wow.
It's all good. It's snowy out there. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks to Graham Stewart for being on the show this week and taking the time. Definitely had a fun Sunday at the Stewart residence. We proceeded to play some Mario Kart afterwards, and I couldn't win in their house. It wouldn't have been appropriate, so I had to make sure that I didn't win every race, but did win a couple.
So you threw it?
No, I just knocked that good, but it was fun.
Can't beat Mario Kart. Timeless, people. Timeless.
Oh man, I just bought a Nintendo Switch, by the way. So if you want to play some Mario Kart sometime, you and Allie just come hang out. We'll get some karting in.
All right. Wasn't that our game during COVID? Weren't we all playing Mario Kart on
yeah, I think we were.
Group play?
Yeah, I think we were. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
it's a classic game. Anyways, NFR is coming up. We got 6 Canadian men going, 5 in the bronc riding, which is wild. And then Scott Ginther makes it, just cruises in the last spot from like a 2-month run at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then Jake Gardner and Oren Larson just barely miss it by like less than 2,000. Jake misses by like 1,000, like $1,200. Could have been his first NFR. Oren would have been his like 9th or 10th, which is almost the most ever for Canadian bareback riders.
Well, and his was a consecutive streak too for Oren that
Yeah,
finally broke.
I think he had 9 in a row.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
toughest event on your body too. Like to make the NFR 9 years in a row on the bareback ride and then just get totally, like you get demolished all year long. That's where you make your money. So it's a little
And he,
tough to not make
and
that.
he missed a bunch of the season at the start too, so he was kind of playing catch up the whole way through.
And then our breakaway ropers, Kendall Pearson, Shelby Bosley, both back at her again too. So gonna be a great week. I'm curious. I hope that the breakaway in Phoenix goes really well and Scottsdale goes really well this week. The $1 million breakaway, that'll be a big event. Gonna go awesome. And that money Kimes was offering to put the breakaway ropers in the perf at the NFR, but they declined. So instead
That's wild.
Instead they're having $1 million breakaway in Scottsdale on its own. But hopefully that event goes really great, and hopefully those girls can make it in the perf at some point. Could be a bit of a format for a lot of shows that, if the NFR can run off a perf in 2 hours and 15 minutes with all 7 events and 15 in every event, people might realize that it's possible. Maybe we'll see some changes. We talked about that at some point, but there's no consistent format with rodeo, and that's how that is because everybody
The only
puts on their own
things
show.
that consistent is we're inconsistent.
Yeah, good point. And I read an article today about that actually too, Dustin. We talked about that a little bit where, what's rodeo's kind of breakthrough with Teton Ridge acquiring the Cowboy Channel after Patrick Gotch passes away this year. There's, what does the future look like? I wonder what that ends up being. The TV products. I think we've had a couple conversations with different people. But I think we talked to like Jeff Metters last year, kind of like after the NFR, maybe just before or something, and he talked about how they could have like a tour maybe of like 30 rodeos that are made for TV with a real production, because as much as it's great to have every rodeo's fucking live in-screen production, it's not a TV production. If you just followed the fucking screen at the Oilers game, nobody would fucking watch the NHL or watch the Flames or watch the Stanley Cup playoffs. It was a fucking in-arena feed. I'm sorry, but it's not a TV product.
I know people are like, "Oh, it's great to be able to watch what's happening and wherever," but it's trash. And I mean, I'm on the other end of it. I got a mic in my hand, trying to announce to, 500 people that paid money to watch. And when you're watching it on the screen, at times, there's so many things that are out of context or don't make sense. Or
you're working with a clown that's not even on the screen.
When I was broadcasting on the Cowboy Channel at CFR, is 1,000 times different than when I'm announcing to a live crowd.
Absolutely.
And to have that put out to the world, I just think is a really poor product at times.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not consistent and shouldn't be out there. I know I understand we're getting the product out, but it's not well done.
Yeah. So I look forward to seeing what kind of changes become of that. And, with Teton being this tight in with the PRCA, I wonder what the American looks like in a year or two. What that ends up being, to have Post Malone there this last year when he's kicking off his country music career. Like we're at a big intersection here where things could go in a real great way. So hopefully things go the right way. But man, we gotta talk about the NFR too, because I totally forgot we have a booth down there. So come see us at the Rio. Gonna have a whole setup with a bunch of brand new stuff that hasn't even been released to anybody yet, really. So that'll be neat to see. And hope to see you all down there during the NFR at the booth at the Rio once again. You can find us, give us a shout, find us on the social medias. But we got some brand new stuff we're gonna show off there, and yeah, gonna be a great week, Dustin.
Yeah, I wish I was going to be down there. Not going to make it, but got a great show lined up while you're there. It's going to be really cool. I'm excited to see the Bronc Riders every night and see what Scotty can do. So I think that I think we could see a Bronc riding gold buckle. I think we could see another maybe new world champion in that group. Not ever going to bet against Zeke Thurston, but that's a good group of guys there that could win a ton of money. And then in the breakaway roping as well, I'd love to see one of the girls bring home a buckle as well. So
be awesome.
There'll be lots to watch if you're Canadian, and the Canadian stock down there as well represented again. So
absolutely, yeah. And Tyler Kraft in the arena as pickup man once again. So yeah, gonna be a great national finals in Vegas, and I hope to see you all down there. Dustin, you got anything else? You got a big week coming up here. The Roughneck season is almost upon us,
Yep.
and you got a big fan fest coming up, and then the teddy bear toss on Sunday. You get to count about 20-some thousand teddy bears
Yeah, I'm the official teddy bear counter. If you're coming to the Hitman teddy bear toss, big
on
big
Sunday.
roll. So come join us Sunday. We got a Roughnecks Fan Fest on Saturday. So yeah, just lots happened in the sports world. Season kicks off for them next week. So yeah,
Awesome.
busy times, busy times.
Awesome. Okay, well, kick ass out there, Dustin. We'll catch up with you in another 10 days, 2 weeks kind of thing.
Sounds good, buddy.
Okay, see you, brother. Thank you. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Once again, this is Cowboy Shit. I'm Ted Stovin. He is Dustin Edwards. Thanks to our editor, Sean Morton, and as well as Claire Sunchins on the social media and the clips and the editing. Hey, we appreciate you listening. Make sure to save our show and share it, and check out cowboyshit.ca. We have figured out another plan for shipping instead of Canada Post. So sorry to all the postal workers, but we need our mail, folks. We're going to have to get that shit rolling again someday, please.
And it's gonna be Teddy in a van. Just
It
so everyone
might be.
knows.
Yeah,
There's no
the shipping
secrets.
thing is me driving around in a van, hucking your box of stuff onto the porch. Surprise, it's me.